Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well and welcome to my channel. My name is Jad and this is going to be one of the first videos on my channel. I'm really excited to bring you guys along the journey. In today's video, this is going to be a bit of a portfolio update and pretty much showing you guys what I invest in, where I'm going at in my kind of financial journey, we could call it, or my investing journey. I pretty much started investing about 3 months ago. However, before that, I did have a lot of money pretty much just sitting in a bank account. So I did decide to take the leap of faith, you could call it, about 3 months ago and really dip my toes into the market. And I think this is going to be a really cool, it's not necessarily a challenge, but a really cool series. I hope to make one of these portfolio updates every month, almost as, first of all, as a note to myself to see how I'm doing over time. I guess YouTube is almost like a personal diary, which is insane, and I can share it with other people, hopefully I'll share some tips with you. As I know, when I was getting into my financial journey, I really loved watching these types of videos. I love to see how people's portfolios were performing over time, whether that be good, whether that be bad. It's all part of the journey, and I hope to bring you guys along with me. A bit of context then, if any of you are new, which you are. My name is Jad, and I recently graduated about 8 or so months ago now from uni. I'm currently working in a job in tech in London. Specifically, I'm working in the AI department, in the AI team. So that's really where I'm coming from. I'm not coming from a financial background at all. I did study business management at uni, but I guess that's not necessarily financial or economics based. And really, I'm learning along the way with all of you. None of this is going to be financial advice. It's just pretty much what I'm doing. And if you do enjoy, feel free to stick around, feel free to leave a comment of how you all are doing on your financial journey, and I'd love to get back to you. So as the title suggested, this is going to be a portfolio update. Pretty much most of my portfolio right now is in trading 212. I was lucky enough to start my journey about 3 months ago, so I kind of caught the end of the last ISA limit and this year's ISA limit, so kind of in between both. However, the majority of my portfolio is right now in trading 212. And I do have a lifetime ISA in Moneybox. So going over to Trading 212 now, it feels very weird, guys. I'm sharing my screen. It definitely feels something different, but I pretty much have 2 accounts in Trading 212. As you can see, I first of all got this invest account. So this is actually a general investment account. And I do have the stocks and shares ISA. So the majority of my funds are right now in my stocks and shares ISA. You can see, thanks to God, we've done quite well over the past month or so. I kind of caught the tail end of Trump's tariff drama. You can see right now we're on 677 pounds with about a 1,000, almost 1,700 pound gain. Going down to my investments, I've got no cash at the moment as pretty much I'm fully invested in the market. I do have some money on the sidelines in a bank account, and looking at it hindsight, I probably should have invested more when the market was down. No one knows whether it's going to go up, whether it's going to go down, whether it's going to go sideways. So if anyone does tell you that, they are a big liar. No one knows what's going to happen. So my plan initially when I started investing was to dollar cost average a little bit each month over the course of 6 months before I'd be fully invested. So you can see my portfolio isn't that grandiose. I know a lot of people on YouTube have these crazy portfolios, so many different stocks, so many, I want to say high risk stocks because some of them are super high risk, but my portfolio is a bit more conservative in that sense. We've got £30,000 in an ETF and the rest in single stocks. So I think probably going to start with the biggest share first. This is our Invesco Dow Jones Islamic Global Developed Markets, and pretty much what this is, it is the FTSE All World essentially. However, it's tailored to Islamic compliant stocks. So I myself am Muslim, my dad is from UAE and my mum's from England. So in this case, rather than being able to invest in a FTSE all-world fund, I would invest in this as it pretty much mimics the performance of an all-world fund. However, it excludes companies that deal with, let's say, gambling, alcohol, weapons manufacturing, and I believe tobacco. I believe those are the 4 categories it excludes. But nevertheless, the performance of it largely does mimic the FTSE All World. In the portfolio, it contains things like Nvidia, Apple, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, all those big tech companies, as well as a lot of different stocks from all over the world. So you can see the performance of this has been very up and down, especially considering all the drama coming out of America with Trump's tariffs. You can see our buying price was extremely good. 26.5 was Quite crazy to be able to get a buy-in price there, considering the price is about 29.5 now. Obviously, as I mentioned before, I should have bought more shares at that time, but no one knows the future, so definitely not beating myself up about that. Currently, I own 1,364 shares, and this is going to be the bread and butter of my portfolio. Pretty much any money I get each month, I'm probably going to allocate the majority of this to this all-world fund, as I don't know the market. I'm not a pro investor. All I can kind of focus on is doing good at my job, doing good on some side hustles, and trying to make as much money as I can and just chuck in the market. So although we are up £2,100, we should have been up a bit more. We should have been up 2,868. However, foreign exchange does take a big toll in things. So if I was you guys and you're not Muslim, I would probably invest in one of those lower cost all world index funds, which essentially you can buy them in pounds, so you won't be affected by the foreign exchange fee. However, this is where I am. So that is my first major holding. Besides that, I do have a few other single stocks, starting off with Nvidia. I've got about 16 shares of Nvidia, and I actually bought Nvidia before buying the all world fund, as this was during the whole DeepSeek drama. I'm not sure if you all remember that. However, China released a new AI model which supposedly did the same as OpenAI's, and essentially it just led to Nvidia crashing in price. Although I bought at the low at that time of 120, so although I did buy at quite a low point, it just kept dropping lower, especially with Trump's tariffs. It does say 94 on Trading 212, but I do remember it going to the high 80s, which is an extremely large drop. Nevertheless, with something like Nvidia, I knew this was going to be a long-term play. I myself invest for, not planning to sell anything for at least 5 years. So I just stuck on my holdings. I didn't sell anything. And we are up £50 now, which is, I guess, better than nothing. It's definitely not a huge gain. And our main loss came down to foreign exchange, which really did eat into our gains. Going down, I've got a small pie here of big tech holdings. This is largely unchanged. This is minus £47, so nothing too drastic here. I own, as the title suggests, I pretty much just own big tech stocks here. I own things like Alphabet, Amazon, Meta, Apple, and Microsoft. These are all solid companies which, have great growth, and I really do believe in them. So that is my investment in the big tech pie. And going on to Alphabet, I thought this was a fantastic investment at the time. Obviously, am I down? Yeah, I'm down £41, but Alphabet got to the point where it was so cheap. It got down to about $145. And considering this is a big tech company which really focuses on growth, being able to get the stock, even at the price it is at now, $163, with a PE ratio of 18.6, that is a crazy, crazy discount. So, I don't know, at least in my opinion, definitely not financial advice, I am bullish on Alphabet. I think if I am going to go and buy a few more single stocks, I would add a bit more Alphabet to my portfolio. I've got 8.3 shares now, which is quite a small amount. However, I am also invested in Alphabet technically by investing in those large all-world ETF funds. So from this, I'm up about £1,670. And if we go to our other general investment account, I made this investment quite recently, actually. Where was this? 9th of May. So that's only about a month ago, just over a month ago. And we are up £417 on this. Nothing too glamorous on this side of the portfolio, mainly just invested in the all-world ETF fund with a slightly higher buy price, but nevertheless still profitable at the moment. So here I've got a dividend pie, which although I haven't actually been actively investing in this dividend pie, I kind of had a bit of a play around, adding a few stocks to the portfolio. And I think definitely I would want to start investing in this in the future. Maybe next month, in a couple of months, I'll put some money into this pie, as I love the whole idea of having dividend income. I love the whole idea of technically being a shareholder of the company and receiving a percentage of the profits. In my mind, that is absolutely insane. Getting a payout every quarter, every month, whatever it may be. I really love the idea of that, and I do hope to, almost as a stabilizer to my portfolio, invest in some kind of steady dividend stocks. In here, we've got things like National Grid, B&M, not even sure how B&M would do, to be honest. I saw they had a juicy dividend, which probably shouldn't be the first thing I look at, but we've got B&M in there, BP, GSK, Legal & General, and a few other stocks in there. However, definitely something more for me to think about going forward. So lastly, our last holdings are in our Moneybox LISA account. And essentially, if you don't know what a can't even speak. If you don't know what a LISA is essentially a lifetime ISA. Right now, I am 23 years old, so I've got quite a lot of time to benefit from this. And essentially what it is kind of an incentive from the government to save for your first house. So I currently don't own a house, and essentially what the government is doing to promote this is every £4,000 you put into it, the government will give you 25% of that money, kind of cash back almost. So I've been maxing that out for the past 2 tax years, putting £4,000 each tax year and getting the £1,000 government bonus. You can see right now in our LISA we've got, so right now in our LISA you can see our activity. We've received the first £1,000 government bonus. The second should pay out at the end of this month, so in about a week or so time. And right now we're sitting on a gain of about £1,300 in this. Keep in mind the £313 is the actual investment gain, and the £1,000 is what the government gave me as a bonus. So, at least in my opinion, this is definitely quite a good thing to look into if you are a younger person, if you haven't bought your first house. Obviously, there's a lot of strings attached to this. I believe the house you buy cannot be more than £450,000. As well as that, you do need a mortgage for it. However, if you don't plan to buy a house, you can still use this as almost a pension pot. So you'll still receive the £1,000 government bonus, and you'll be able to withdraw it when you're 60, I believe the age is, without any penalties. So pretty much that is my whole investment portfolio at the moment. I think right now I'm on about £50,000 invested in the market, which is an absolutely insane amount to invest. I am truly blessed, and I do recognize that, you know, it's quite unusual probably for a young person to have this much. But really, I do want to make this channel to share with you all some tips on how you can go about it as well. As more or less a backstory, if you're here this long, thank you very much, first of all. But pretty much none of this money was given to me. I worked a lot of internships during my time at uni, got quite a few scholarships, had a few side hustles and businesses, which is how I was able to accumulate this money. So definitely I'll be making a lot of videos going forward about some different side hustles you can do, some different strategies on how you can, if you're a uni student, how you can get a high paying internship, or if you're not, some other business ventures you can all do on the side. So thank you very much for watching this video, everyone. Please feel free to share with me how you're planning on investing. Are you going down more of a growth stock type route? I think definitely at my stage I'm going down a growth stock route. However, it's definitely good to have exposure to both. So thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy, please drop a like, please leave a comment, and I hope to see you all soon. Thank you, everyone.